The beauty of Moko, it's uniquely New Zealand. It's ours. To me, it's more of an identity to do with Maori, your whakapapa, your mana. Nowadays, I mean, the youth find it as more of an identity, more to do with something on their arms and things like that. You get a lot of young Maori coming here, they're not sure where they're from, they know they're Maori, they've been whāngai out, European families. So I give them something that just gives them a bit of an identity status. Back in the day, it would have just really been the artist who really knew what it meant, and possibly the carvers. People in general can't read Moko. It's the artist will design it. They will tell the client what it means, and they just take it from there. Whereas, there are certain patterns that certain iwi use that you can look at a designer and say, oh, you're from Ngāpuhi or Te Atiawa. And sometimes the client gets a bit of a shock. They go, oh, how do you know that? And there's just something that the artist has put in there, and that another Moko artist or a carver can read. It's just little symbols within those. A lot of it's up to the person getting it as well, why they're getting it, what they want it to mean. Job, their mana, the warrior, if they were tūhunga. I think placement is quite important. Yeah, it's quite important because a lot of the Moko artists now, they also look for placement. So it looks like it's meant to be on the skin, and it flows with the shape of the arm or the leg or the back. Just on the skin, it looks really beautiful. It's meant to be there. And you kind of look at it as, well, that's really nice Moko, but what also that you don't see is where it's placed on the body. The chin, for most women, the males, or maybe the face, the buttocks, the thighs. Nowadays it's backs, thighs for women, arms, shoulder blades over the hips, and some are even wearing pūpuru that was more the males. So it's just kind of evolving, really, which is good. Otherwise the art will stay stagnant.
Yeah, I've put the bird on his shoulder here, and then the bird's singing with the musical note, so I did a kind of musical note lock to match the spiral on this arm. I've got the tuatara peeking through, mother-in-law. A little ladybug here. This is black and white, and then I'm going to colour it up. This section here represents the gallery in modern tattooing, the Aotearoa Artist Gallery, which I'm part of, and this one here represents the Tattoo Museum, and we've got the traditional iwi tools there. So it's kind of like the past and the present, and representation of both.
Traditional tools were similar to this, and possibly in size. These are made of pounamu, but traditionally they're made of timber, with the chisel ends being made of albatross bone, sometimes human bone, and then the process was just tapped into the skin. Although nowadays you can't get the same look as they did traditional, with the raised chisel look. It's quite flat. It's more aligned, but it's more like a normal tattoo, I suppose. Compared to traditional, it gave you that chisel incised look. The combination of needles just makes it so much easier. You don't really have to do anything. You just put your machines together and do your Moko. I mean, somebody else makes your needles. They're all made in China now. But traditional Moko that our tūpunas wear that was beautiful. It really, if you look at some old photos, everything was so precise, and really you had one shot at it. In one shot only. Nowadays they can use a machine, they can use a very faint grey line just to get some guidelines in there before they go in with a heavy line. So if there's any mistakes, the grey will fade out, it's not really visible. I think those who have been to New Zealand and worked with the likes of Inia Taylor, Mark Korpua, visited Gordon, those who come to New Zealand and spend the time, move around the country and try and learn what they can, sure. Those who just want to stay in Italy or Germany and use a Maori name, do Maori tattooing, and they've never been here and they've just read it all on the net. Yeah, I mean, good on them for being artists, but yeah, I think it's a little bit of an insult. I've got a friend in Croatia, Zili. He does Maori tattooing, or kirituhi as some people call it now, which is skin drawing or skin design. He's been here twice. He stayed on Marae in Auckland, where I'm from, Orake Marae, and he stayed there with my people and worked amongst different artists. So yeah, credits, good credit to him. But yeah, the other guys I'm not too sure about. It's some just don't get it right. Some do their version, and yeah, you get a lot of people. I mean, nowadays they just think the solid black tribal designs that Leo Zulueta came up with in the early 90s is Maori. So they're a little bit behind the 8 ball, and a lot of people when they come to New Zealand, it's Maori and tattooing or moko is what they want to get when they leave. It doesn't really bother me. For instance, Robbie Williams, he's non-Maori, but he got it off a moko artist, Te Rangi too. Ben Harper's another one, he's got it off Gordon. They're non-Maori, but that's fine. It's between them and the artist. Some of the artists may cop, maybe a bit of flack from moko artists, but at the end of the day, they're making a living. And that's what it's all about. I mean, carving's the same. You could do a carving, you're going to sell it to anyone. It's traditionally it wasn't sold. I've been tattooing now over 20 years. My moko input came from a good friend, Tom Bishop, and another one is Sam Hauahu. They're both carvers, so kind of hanging around with them. Going to moko wānangas, talking to Mark Korpua, hanging around with more the traditional moko artists, and that's all they do. And carvers is where I get all my influence from. No, nothing's really changed. Just more the style. That's all. Some doing it. I mean, there's a lot of moko artists that do a lot of karakia beforehand. Sometimes it can be up to the client. I have clients come in if they want that. Sure, we can do something. If they don't, that's fine. That's entirely up to them. The tapu side of it's more the blood. The blood being spilled. Yes, there's still a lot of it. I mean, there's Himi Tapiti who still uses traditional tools as well as the machine. There's others within probably bush areas that use traditional that not many people would know about. It's just going to keep getting further and further ahead. More popular. Pretty much like the language. In 10 years' time, it's common now. You see it on musicians. You see it on a lot of the rugby, the league players. It's in your face all day, every day. Tamieti is another one. You see his moko whenever he's on the news, and it just puts a reminder. Oh yeah, there's moko is still out there. And just there'll be those subtle changes from that new generation of artists coming through, and it'll just slowly change. Even I think a lot of carving is changing now. Yeah, moko's doing the same. I mean, the groups of needles you use now, whereas you're getting your shading, you can do a carving figure and pretty much make it look like a carving with a 3D effect instead of just doing line work. There's new artists. You've got art schools, Toi Haukura for instance, from Derek Lardelli, that they produce some really stunning contemporary artists there who kind of move into Moko and they bring their own style of painting, and it's quite nice to see the artwork. So I suppose in 30 years' time it'll be traditional, maybe traditional Moko. So it's just kind of evolving, really, which is good. Otherwise the art will stay stagnant.